So we talked about how the Masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Masjid Nabawi were simple. They didn't have all the fancy decorations, right? That's what the reality was. That's what the model also shows. So what is the ruling on decorating them, right? So I'm going to give you two terms. ठीक है, जो आप याद कर लो, लिख लो. So the first is, scholars say that tashheed is allowed whilst zakhrufa is not allowed and naksh is not allowed. So there are three things. One is called tashheed, ye yaad rakho, theek hai. The other is zakhrufa and the third is naksh. Ye teen cheezein, theek hai. Tashheed allowed hai, zakhrufa and naksh are not allowed. Zakhrufa and naksh kya hota hai? Let's understand that, okay? Tashheed means having good quality building material for the building itself. So after the masjid was first built, your Masjid Nabawi thi, from mud bricks, it was rebuilt with stones, the roof was replaced with wood, and all of this is allowed. So if you remember also the Makkah series, during the Makkah series, jab Khane Kaaba collapse kar gaya tha, uski chhat toot gayi thi, so they used wood from a ship to make it strong. So anything which makes the structure strong, it makes it lasting, is something, and all of these things are allowed. Okay, so there's no problem with that. However, there is a difference in opinion about the decoration of the masjid. Now, some scholars say it is haram and others say it is makruh. Okay? Haram means it's impermissible. Doing it is a cause of sin, and makruh means it is disliked. ठीक हो गया? बुरा समझा जाता है. अच्छा जी, some scholars say that if someone designates money to be used as a waqf, trust for a masjid, then it is haram to use that money for the decoration of masjid. So, a lot of masajid in the past, in Ottoman times, in Umayyad times, used to be waqfs. Waqfs क्या होती है? एक जगह है, dedicated है. There's funds there. Even now today, in this day and age, decoration के लिए होता है. You can't use public money or charity money and all of these things, which is waqf money, for the decoration of masjids. Okay? But you can use that money to make the masjid strong, to make it inhabitable, to make it comfortable for the musallin or the people who come to the masjid, right? Because ये हमेशा से आप याद रखना, money must be put for the building of the masjid because substance is more important than symbols. Unfortunately, subcontinent के अंदर we are all running after symbols and we forget the substance. Symbols क्या होता है? For example, ईद मिलादुल नबी आ गई. ईद मिलादुल नबी पे सब जाके लाइटें जलाएंगे, हलवे बनाएंगे, ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे, केक भी आजकल लोग काटते हैं. बहुत मोहब्बत है मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से, बहुत ज्यादा है, अच्छी बात है, मोहब्बत होनी चाहिए. लेकिन कल को फजर पे कौन जाएगा? कोई भी नहीं जाएगा. सुन्नत लिबास कौन पहनता है? कोई भी नहीं पहनता, मतलब कम लोग पहनते हैं. सुन्नत किसने रखी हुई है? नहीं दिल चाहता. म्यूजिक सुनना है, ये करना है, वो करना है. सो दिस इज नोन एज लविंग सिंबल्स ओवर सब्सटेंस. और ये एक बहुत बड़ा शैतान का धोखा होता है. शैतान का धोखा होता है कि आप सिंबल्स को इतना मोहब्बत करना शुरू कर देते हो कि आपको लगता है कि यार मैं तो बहुत पाक साफ नेक बंदा बन गया हूँ, मैंने जी हलवे भी बनाए, मैंने जर्दे भी बनाए, मैंने ये चीजें भी की. बट जब मैं ये कहूँ कि यार सुन्नत को फॉलो करो, एवरी डे छोटी छोटी चीज करना हमें मुश्किल लगती है. मस्जिद जाना मुश्किल लगता है हमें. सबसे बड़ी सुन्नत क्या है? आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम तमाम नमाजें कहाँ पढ़ते थे? मस्जिद में पढ़ते थे. ठीक है, इट्स नॉट इवन अ सुन्ना, इट्स फर्ज ऑन द मेल्स. अब आप सारे, हम जो इस कमरे में बैठे हुए बॉयज और जो ऑनलाइन है, इफ यू आर अबव द एज ऑफ 13-14, इट इज फर्ज ऑन यू टू गो टू द मस्जिद. इट्स नॉट कि अच्छा हो गया हो गया हो गया. ठीक है, अजान हमें आवाज आती है, वी हैव टू गो टू द मस्जिद. नॉन मुस्लिम कंट्रीज में क्या होता है? जो नए मुसलमान होते हैं, आई हैव हर्ड स्टोरीज ऑफ न्यू मुस्लिम्स गोइंग फॉर 20 मिनट वॉक्स, 30 मिनट वॉक्स जस्ट टू गो टू द मस्जिद. और हमारे यहाँ क्या होता है? मस्जिद सामने, हम कहते हैं यार इट्स ओके. अच्छा, फिर एक और चीज, क्या एक और कल्चर में हमारी चीज, यार ये चीज कर लो, सुन्नत है. यार सुन्नत है, फर्ज तो नहीं है ना. इट्स ओके. सो दिस इज ऑल लविंग सिंबल्स ओवर सब्सटेंस. ठीक है, खुदा ना खास्ता कुछ हो जाता है, अल्लाह माफ करे, हम you go and break motorcycles and how this and that. That's not sunnah. Sunnah is basically loving Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in your life, day in and day out. Okay, so masjid should be a center for substance and not symbols. बड़ी सी मस्जिद बना दो आप, बड़े बड़े मिनरेट्स हो, लेकिन एक सफ भी ना पूरी हो सके तो क्या फायदा? Do you understand now? Yeah, हमारे मुफ्ती साहब कहते थे कि आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के वक्त में कच्ची मस्जिदें होती थी और पक्के नमाजी. अब क्या है? पक्की मस्जिदें और कच्चे नमाजी मेरे जैसे. That's what my Mufti Sahab used to tell me about 15 years ago. It's the same now. Okay, let's keep moving. So Masjid Nabi was simple. Did somebody have a comment or a question?
Yeah, somebody here has a question.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Harun, Harun hai?
I think
Yeah,
it's the same as like
sorry, I can't hear. Can you say again?
I was saying that I think the thing you said, like they do this and this to show their love for Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and not do not follow the sunnahs. It's the same thing as they do in Mother's Day and Father's Day. They're like we giving cards, giving gifts, hugging them, putting them on social media, and then at the end, the mother and fathers are at the old homes.
That is so true. देखिए आजकल that's such a good point that you've raised, right? Because अब तो एक और मसला शुरू हो गया है. अब तो मसला ये शुरू हो गया, it's building a facade इंग्लिश में कहते हैं किसी को आउटसाइड अपीयरेंस बनाना. जिस तरह आजकल हम घर बहुत प्यारे बाहर से लग रहे होते हैं लेकिन अंदर जो है उसकी वुड वर्क नहीं सही, उसका दरवाजा नहीं सही. So a lot of people do this now. A lot of people do this. They show on social media that they have the most perfect life and everything, but in reality it's nothing, right? I used to live in Dubai. दुबई में कल्चर क्या होता था? दुबई में कल्चर जो मैरिड कपल्स या कोई और होते थे वो तस्वीरें लगाते थे इंस्टाग्राम पे कि जी वो जी जबरदस्त, बट असल में उनसे जाके मिलो तो आपस में लड़ाई है, आपस में मोहब्बत नहीं है. तो भाई ये सोशल मीडिया पे पिक्चर्स क्यों डाली हैं कि नहीं हमने दुनिया को तो दिखाने ना कि हम इस तरह के हैं. Because you don't really worry about your own relationship. All you worry about is how many likes you get, how many people have viewed your post, how many people have been looking at you, and आपको क्या है. Especially young girls के अंदर भी और boys के अंदर. There's a book called Beauty Sick, right? Beauty Sick का मतलब ये होता है कि the media sort of manipulates you into just looking at कि भैया मुझे लोग कितने लाइक कर रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं. अच्छा किसी को अगर 1000 लाइक करें ना, which is a big thing, लेकिन आपकी फ्रेंड को 1002 हो जाए तो आप डिप्रेशन में पड़ जाते हो. So that's a very very good point. It's all symbols over substance. बर्थडे बनाएंगे जी बहुत जबरदस्त, वाह वाह जी, लेकिन पूरा साल नहीं याद रखेंगे. फादर डे मना लिया, फादर आगे पीछे. एवरी डे इज फादर्स डे फॉर मुस्लिम्स. कहते हैं सुन्नत में हदीस में आता है कि एनीबडी हु लुक्स एट देयर फादर विद मोहब्बत गेट्स अ सवाब ऑफ उमरा, राइट? एंड देन 4 times मदर की हुआ थी. Somebody came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked him, what is the value of my mom? Who should have the most rights over me? Your mom, your mom, your mom, and then fourth by your father. So every day for Muslims is Father Day. Every day for Muslims is Mother's Day. Every day is, wedding anniversary. मोहब्बत आपस में इस तरह की होगी. So ये चीजें होती हैं. ये वेस्ट ने बनाया होता है to feel good, right? मैंने अच्छी सी बर्थडे कर दी, पूरा साल नहीं याद रखना. So that's what we need to do. But another couple of things, देखिए मस्जिद में कुछ चीजें लगानी जिससे मस्जिद के क्या नाम है, people without ostentatiousness, right? So if you put a good carpet there, if you put fans there, if you can afford to put air conditioning there without वो, तो ये चीजें allowed हैं. These are not things that are disallowed, right? Anything that can make your musalli, because even Masjid Nabi में, right, they could have had an open roof, but they built the roof. Why? Because सूरज ना पड़े, गर्मी ना लगे, बारिश ना आए. ठीक हो गया. So these things are allowed, not an issue. अच्छी चीजें लगाएं आप, लेकिन लंबी लंबी आपने कैलीग्राफी की हुई है लाखों की और आपने वो चीजें की हुई है, नहीं, that's not it. Okay. All right, so let's keep moving to our lesson and then we'll do our quiz as well.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So basically, if you go to masjids nowadays, there's gonna be like calligraphies inside the masjids, and you can take Hagia Sophia for example. There's calligraphy of Allah and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So is that allowed?
Again, there are two things to say. There are two things to say around that. One, is it allowed to pray where calligraphy is? There's no problem, right? It's fine. और कुछ हो. दूसरी चीज, if the calligraphy is not, वही वाली बात है, इसराफ में नहीं आ रही, ostentatiousness नहीं है, plus आपने वक्त पे पैसे नहीं यूज किए, then it's also okay. But not going overboard कि जी अब आप गोल्ड के साथ पेंट कर रहे हो, वो कर रहे हो. I'll give you another example. So in 1258 खिलाफत होती थी बगदाद में, capital of Islamic खिलाफा, and it was the Abbasides, Abbasi लोग होते थे, and they used to have the biggest mosques and the biggest bathhouses and the biggest this and the biggest that. And one day the Mongols came, जो आप अर्तुरू में नहीं देखते हो, नोयान वगैरह जो थे, Mongols came, 1258 की बात है, and they just ravished Baghdad. And one of the Khalifa said, उसको prisoner ले लिया. खलीफा को कहा, उसको प्रेसिडेंट बना लिया. खलीफा ने कहा, I'm very hungry, give me food. So what the Mongols did was, they took a tray and tray के अंदर गोल्ड रखा के खा लो जाके. तो कहता मैं कैसे खाऊंगा? तो उसको कहा खलीफा को, यार couldn't you have spent this money on food, on your people, on your army to defend it? So हमने ये देखा कि over the years जब सल्तनत बहुत rich हो जाती हैं, वो हो जाती हैं, तो वो ostentatiousness और luxuries में पड़ जाती हैं. So that is not allowed. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. अच्छा जी. So
Yeah.
जी Musa, did you have a question?
Yes, so yes, it's a question. When I went to Hagia Sophia, I saw these four angels, as Christians believe. They were known as seraphs. They had a lot of wings. So, but one of their faces, like three of their faces were gone. Like there were four angels now, but one of their faces were still remaining. So is it allowed to pray in that masjid? Because any masjid with faces inside is making faces within the masjid isn't allowed.
Yeah, that's a
So
very
is it
that's a very good question. और उसकी मैंने picture भी ली थी. I'll send it on the group afterwards, right? So actually, Musa, when I went to pray in Hagia Sophia for the first time, for people who know, Hagia Sophia जो है वो टर्की में एक church होता था जो कि फिर जब Sultan Mehmed took it over, it became a mosque, right?
Yeah.
So if you enter Hagia Sophia, तो बाहर ईसा अलैहिस्सलाम की पिक्चर्स बनी हुई है, बट मस्जिद के अंदर नहीं है ईसा अलैहिस्सलाम की पिक्चर्स. बट अगर आप रूफ पे देखोगे तो आपको एक एंजल की शक्ल नजर आती है. So as soon as I went there, I took a picture and I sent it to मुफ्ती साहब. मैंने कहा मुफ्ती साहब मैं इधर आकर नमाज पढ़ लूँ. क्या नमाज पढ़ सकते हैं आपके. सो उसकी जो फतवा है वो ये है कि यू कैन प्रे इन दैट मस्जिद, बट इट इज नॉट encouraged फॉर यू टू मेक फेसेस. दूसरी बात ये है कि it's right on the top of the roof. It's not in front of you, it's not on the side, it's not in your face. So the correct ruling from the ulama that I asked for Hagia Sophia was that I could pray in that masjid, but obviously we're not allowed to make faces, we're not allowed to make any iconography जिसको हम कहते हैं. ठीक है.
There's someone in both.
Acha ji. So now we're going to talk about a few virtues of the Masjid of Nabi, and then we will stop for our quiz. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says one in a hadith that one salah in my masjid is better than 1,000 salah in any other masjid except Masjid al-Haram. ठीक है. So Masjid Nabi में जो authentic hadith के हिसाब से है वो ये है कि if you pray one salah there, how many rewards you get? 1,000 salah, right? Which basically means that if you offer one Isha, it is equal to 83 years worth of Ishas. Just yaad rakho isko. It's so we should let's all make dua that Allah makes us go to Masjid Nabi and Khane Kaaba again and again. Yeah, say Ameen. Yeah, ऐसी दुआ होती है. देखो हर कोई जा नहीं सकता, जाता वही है जिसको अल्लाह बुलाता है. Just remember that. You might have the most amount of money, you might be very young, you might have millions in rupees and dollars, whatever, but if Allah doesn't call you, you can't go. You might have nothing and Allah might call you. Yeah. Okay, ji. So next is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said you should not travel to visit a masjid except if it is three masajid: Masjid al-Haram, Masjid al-Aqsa, Masjid of Nabawi. ये याद रखें. So आप इस नियत से, सिर्फ इस नियत से किसी मस्जिद को, मतलब you can't take a whole journey just for this niyat I have to go and pray in that masjid because of some barakah, except three masajid. That's it, which is Masjid Nabawi, Masjid Haram and Masjid Aqsa. इन मसाजिद को स्पेसिफिकली जाकर ट्रैवल कर सकते हो. अगर आप इधर से सिर्फ इस नियत से जाओ कि जी मैंने हाया सोफिया में जाके नमाज पढ़नी है, मैंने हाया सोफिया जाके सिर्फ एक नियत के साथ जाओ, दैट इज नॉट अलाउड. बट अगर आपकी नियत ये हो कि आई हैव टू गो टू सी हाया सोफिया एंड सी हाउ मुस्लिम्स हैड कॉन्कर्ड इस्तांबुल एंड गेट लर्निंग्स फ्रॉम दैट एंड प्रे फातिहा फॉर ऑल द मुजाहिदीन हु फॉट देयर, दैट्स अलाउड. बट सिर्फ एक नियत के साथ जाना कि मैंने सिर्फ उस मस्जिद के लिए जाना है, वो सिर्फ जो राइट्स हैं वो सिर्फ तीन मसाजिद के लिए. कौन सी? मस्जिद अक्सा, मस्जिद हराम which is in Makkah and Masjid al-Nabawi. Clear?
I have a question.
Yeah?
So there's a famous masjid in Lahore. I forgot the name.
Bache,
Yeah, but
Bache Masjid.
yes. So if you're in Islamabad, and I mean it's in the same country, and if you're in Islamabad and you're going all the way to just see how it looks and pray there as well, so is that allowed?
It depends on your intention, like I said. So if your intention is I have to go just to go and pray in that special masjid, that is not allowed. But
Okay,
if you're in
praying and seeing the history.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But if your intention is, I have to go see Badshahi Masjid and understand what the historical context was, how the Mughals used to rule this place and all of that. That is all allowed. But सिर्फ इसलिए कि जाके वो कोई स्पेशल मस्जिद है और मैं जाके वहां सिर्फ नमाज पढ़ूंगी और मुझे उसमें से जो है रिवॉर्ड ज्यादा मिलेगा, that is not allowed. Because there are only 3 masjids which have that special status. बता.
ये हमारे गाँव वगैरह में हमारे इलाकों में पीरो वगैरह को बहुत मानते हैं, तो वहाँ से लोग यहाँ पे आते हैं, वो गोरडा शरीफ हमेशा
Yeah.
वहाँ पे सिर्फ रहने के लिए, और वहाँ
Yeah.
तो ये सर
So Afnan का क्वेश्चन ये है कि a lot of people in Pakistan go for shrines के visits के लिए and उस चीज में उधर जाके रहते भी हैं, वो चीजें भी करते हैं. अच्छा, इसमें 2 चीजें, ठीक है. पहली बात तो ये है कि आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की हदीस के मुताबिक you cannot have a grave in a mosque. Okay, that's disallowed. That's the first thing. The second thing is you can go to a grave for Fatiha. You can go to a grave to get, ibrat that, this is a graveyard. I will also be there. These are allowed. So Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam allowed the Muslims to go and visit graves just for the visiting graves, but not to go and ask the person in the grave कि जी मुझे ये दे दो, मुझे वो दे दो. वो तो बेचारा मर चुका ना. So सिर्फ किसी shrine पे ये जाना कि जी कोई मुझे उधर से बरकत मिलेगी, if my prayers will be answered, that is dangerous. That should not be done. That can also be going towards shirk. शिर्क ये होता है कि अल्लाह के बजाय जाके आप कब्र से मांग रहे हो.
लेकिन सर ये तो काफी सारी मस्जिदों में और
या
कब्र उधर ही
करेक्ट
उधर ही होती है।
या ये सब कॉन्टिनेंट में बहुत ज्यादा है. इवन मिडिल ईस्ट में भी है, बट दैट इज इवन टर्की में भी है.
तो वहाँ उस जगह पे आप नमाज ना पढ़ें।
सो कोशिश होनी चाहिए कि जहां कब्र हो वहां नमाज ना. ये हमारे स्कॉलर्स ने ये बताया. हाँ, जहां कब्रिस्तान है लेकिन मस्जिद अलग है, लेकिन कब्रिस्तान के साथ है, बट इट्स ओके एज लॉन्ग एज मस्जिद के अंदर कब्र ना हो. ठीक है.
So basically, isn't Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's grave inside a masjid?
It's a very good question, and let me explain that by showing you this. Okay.
I raised my hand because I was going to ask the same question.
Yeah, you see this model? You see this model? Everybody can see this and my cursor?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. This was when the Qibla used to be towards Jerusalem. Okay? So when the Qibla became towards Makkah, so ye chhat yahan aa gayi. So the masjid was here. And these houses next to it were the houses of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? So the house next door was Hazrat Aisha's house. ठीक है. And मैं आगे जाके हदीस भी आएगी कि Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say that the space between my house, which used to be outside the masjid, ठीक है, which used to be outside the masjid, and between my masjid and my house is a place called Riyazul Jannah. Riyazul Jannah, right? Which is the place of Jannah. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's house used to be outside the masjid. Okay, then अच्छा, जो नबियों की सुन्नत होती है, नबी की सुन्नत ये होती है कि wherever they die, they're buried there. Remember that. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam died where? He died in the house of Aisha radhiyallahu anha. ठीक है, he was actually in the lap of Aisha radhiyallahu anha when he died. So when he died, he was buried in this house here. You can see this. अच्छा, रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के वक्त में मस्जिद इसी तरह थी, 4 दीवारी करती गई, इस तरह करती गई. But then as time passed on, as things moved ahead, तो ये मस्जिद बढ़ती रही. So what they did was they used to make the masjid. So आपको 4 दीवारी में वो नजर आ रही है. It's within the 4 roofs. But if you go today, even the grave is separate from the mosque. It's now part of the complex. But it's not some place where you can pray there also, right? So when you're, in fact, जब आप जाते हो मस्जिद में, if you're in the first row, the grave of the Holy Prophet ﷺ was behind, is now behind. So ये चीज हुई कि in the early days, when they expanded it, and then the house got absorbed in it, and then things moved on. But now it's separate. Now some people actually said कि यार ये तो मतलब इसको अलग कर दें, इस तरह कर दें, but then it's a bit difficult now to do it from a structural perspective. But Masjid Nabi is not a place where the mosque was built where the grave was. It was basically Aisha radhiyallahu anha's house. Even today it's not a mosque, that place, जो house है उनका, वहाँ नमाज नहीं हुई, कभी भी नहीं हुई वहाँ नमाज. तो उसको जिस तरह इतिकाफ होता है ना, किसी बॉय ने इतिकाफ किया? Anybody who's done itikaf? Ever? Itikaf, Maryam, not Umrah.
Oh, never mind.
Itikaf is when boys go to the masjid and they have to stay there for 10 days. So masjid में जब आप जाते हो तो मस्जिद की हदूद डिफाइंड होती हैं कि जी ये मस्जिद की हदूद से बाहर है, ये मस्जिद की हदूद के अंदर है. समझ आई? So if you step outside the masjid की हदूद, your itikaf breaks. So similarly, जो मस्जिद नबी के अंदर जो आयशा रज़ी अल्लाह तआला अन्हा का घर है वो मस्जिद की हदूद से बाहर है, ठीक है, बट देन इट वाज बिल्ट लेटर ऑन आफ्टर मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम डाइड. Okay, अच्छा जी, so let's keep moving ahead and finish this and then we'll do our quiz. अच्छा जी, the next, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that there is a garden from the garden of paradise between my house and my pulpit. I just showed you the model, right? आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के घर से लेके आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम का मिंबर, pulpit means मिंबर. This is what it looks like today. रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम उस वक्त ऐसा नहीं था, उस वक्त तो सिर्फ एक सिंपल सा स्टेप्स होते थे. This is where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to lead the prayers. This is all built later. This all decorations happened later, Ottoman times, Umayyad times, Abbasid times. Don't think that Rasulullah did any of this. ठीक है, he was never of the sort कि जी बहुत बड़ा मिंबर बने और वो हो. So basically होता ये था, there used to be 3 steps in fact. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to sit on the top step. Then when Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anhu became the Khalifa, he came down one step, and Usman radhiyallahu anhu came down another step. Umar radhiyallahu anhu came down another step. Before I do this, I have a question. Now, phones down. I have a question. So, how do Jews call people for prayers in their synagogues, or how did they used to call their people for prayers? You have to raise your hand. Okay. Mustafa, go ahead. Okay, Mustafa is saying they used to announce on speakers. What did they announce? Come to synagogue, please. Free food. Acha ji. Anybody else can think about it. Muhammad, I'll come to you in a bit, okay? Go ahead, Harun. Okay, Harun says they lit a fire. Any girls? Mariam, any thoughts? Any Bint Atif or Hamna? Go ahead.
I think they blew horns or maybe trumpets.
Go ahead. They blew horns. Okay, good. Jasham? They ring bells. Okay. Iman, go ahead.
And something they used to sing melodies and all.
They used to sing something? Okay. Muhammad, go ahead.
Yeah, they used to blow the horn, isn't it?
Correct. So the Christians, they used to ring the bells. Okay. And the Jews, they used to blow the horns. ठीक है, ये horn आप आ रहा है, इसी तरह का horn वो blow करते थे, और that used to be the call to prayers. So when the Muslims established their masjid, there was discussion around how to use this. So should we ring bells? Should we be blowing the horns? Or what should we do? And then something amazing happened. Okay. What happened? So there was a Sahabi called Abdullah bin Zayd radhiyallahu anhu. He had a dream in which a man was carrying a bell. So उनको एक बंदा नजर आया जिसके पास bell थी. So Abdullah asked, how much would he sell the bell for? ठीक है, ख्वाब में नजर आ रहा है. The man then asked him why he wanted the bell in the first place. Okay. And Abdullah responded that he wanted to invite people for prayers. Okay. That's why he was asking for the bell. The man then asked him if he could suggest something better. Abdullah asked what it was. So बंदे ने ख्वाब में ही कहा, ठीक है, याशिम फोन बाद में यूज कर लेना आपको. So the person asked, कि यार, can I suggest something better to you? Right? And the man in the dream taught Abdullah bin Zayd the entire azan. Allah, पूरी azan उन्होंने, मैंने इधर नहीं लिखी, लेकिन पूरी azan उन्होंने ख्वाब में सुनी. ठीक है? And then the man waited for a while. And then after the azan, he then taught him how to do the iqama. Iqama क्या होता है? Azan और iqama में क्या फर्क है? नहीं, iqama कब देते हैं और azan कब देते हैं? Very good. So just before you pray is your iqama. कभी भी हो सकती है, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. So then he told him how to do the iqama. All right. Abdullah bin Zayd then later related this dream to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this dream was meant to be fulfilled. ये such a dream है, and this dream needs to be fulfilled. And then who does he call? He calls Bilal radhiyallahu anhu, who has a strong and beautiful voice. Now remember again, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a leader. Specialization yaad rakho. So he didn't ask Abdullah to go and do it, right? Abdullah was that holy person जिसको इतना अच्छा खूबसूरत ख्वाब आया, लेकिन अजान के लिए किसको बुलाया? सैयदना बिलाल रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु को. क्यों? Because he had a beautiful voice, he had a strong voice. You don't need, if you have a beautiful voice but don't have a strong voice, उस वक्त तो loudspeaker नहीं होते थे. So the right candidate for a good muazzin was a person who had a strong voice, who had a beautiful voice. हमारे ना हम क्योंकि my father's side is a little bit from the villages, so we have this joke that some Maulvi Sahabs in villages do azan in Punjabi, right? Because उनका पंजाबी accent होता है अल्लाह अकबर इस तरह करके ना, तो बजाय आपको ना attraction feel होने के sometimes you like यार किस तरह की अजान है, सही है. बट देखो अजान देने का बहुत सवाब है, ठीक है. आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की हदीस है, if you find out what is the reward for azan, people will fight with each other to go and do that azan. Yeah, so कभी भी आप लोगों को मौका मिले किसी मस्जिद में कहीं और, just make sure you learn how to do azan and you can do azan, and you can by the way do azan without wuzu also. ये भी याद रखें. Okay, Muhammad, go ahead.
I heard a hadith. Once we had gone somewhere. It was like an event with a bunch of people, and we were gonna do the Jamaat. So I did the adhan, and my dad was telling me that there's a hadith about how so the distance that your voice goes to, you get that much reward. So the further your voice goes, the more reward you get.
Yeah, it's very rewarding. So then he called Bilal Raziyallahu anhu and he did the azan for the first time in Medina. Okay? And then in the azan, अब azan हो रही है, पहली दफा आप सुन रहे हो, ठीक है? And पहली दफा सुनने पे किसको आवाज आती है अजान की? Sayyidina Umar Raziyallahu anhu. And Sayyidina Umar Raziyallahu anhu hurried to the mosque and said he had the same dream last night. उनको भी सही वो ख्वाब आया. हमने सोचा था कि जो हमने आपको मैंने मक्का सीरीज में बताया था, 2-3 people have the same dream, and if it's a good dream, it could be a true dream. ठीक है? So azan has become one of the most prominent symbols of Islam. It is the most outwardly or public symbol of Islam. Okay? There is another hadith which says that when shaitan hears the azan, he just runs. He passes gas and he runs. That's the hadith. Yeah? He just runs. ये hadith में आता है कि भाग जाता है वो जब अजान की आवाज आती है. ठीक है? And और क्या था हमारे इस पे? Okay, sorry. And then we'll finish with this. You remember when I was doing the Makkah series and I said Muhammad means the praised one?
Yes.
Right? Now look at the world. Everywhere you have mosques. So the first place which has the sunrise is called Fiji. It's an island. Udar masjid hai. All the way पीछे तक San Francisco तक मसाजिद है. So Fiji में अगर फजर हो रही है कहीं और, ज़ोहर हो रही है कहीं और, मगरिब हो रही है कहीं और, इशा हो रही है. So hayya ala salah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, हर जगह हो रहा है. Everywhere is an azan happening. So that's why Allah made Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam the truly praised one. Okay? All right. So